Hi there, my name's Trudy, One Grounded Angel, as many of you know me. This is an angel card reading for the week starting Monday the 23rd to the 29th of August 2021. Now, as many of you know, I am an angel card reader and an energy healer, and if you haven't had one of these videos done for you before, these are very general because of course they're going out to a wide range of people in a wide range of circumstances, and the purpose of these cards that I'm shuffling for each day of the week is to give you a bit of an insight into what you might need to bear in mind for the day ahead. It's not going to make decisions for you, it's not going to predict the future, it's just there to give you a bit of a divine assistance so that you can better understand what's showing up for you and what you might need to do to move forward. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. My version of spirituality is that we're here to take charge of our lives. We work with the universe. We don't ask the universe to fix things for us. I'm all about empowerment. So this card is very appropriate to that theme. Actually, I just shuffled for Monday, and Monday the 23rd. This is Freya Bold. If you are familiar with Nordic gods and goddesses, you'll know all about Freya, all about fertility, and is the person that Friday was named after, so can be associated with celebration as well. Now the message on this card says, unleash your adventurous side, take risks and be daring. Some of you will love seeing a cat there, Freya often depicted with a cat. So the message here is really for us to push ourselves forward and be a little bit more bold. Now, this is not suggesting that you take ridiculous risks or be reckless. It's about calculated risks. So we know that fear often comes up when we're on the right track. Sometimes people, when they're trying to make a change, fear comes up. They think, oh, that's a sign I'm on the wrong track, and then they abandon everything. But actually what's often going on is that the ego is being provoked by you making that change and the fear block appears. It's a sign you're on the right track. I know that doesn't make it easy, but it might be reassuring for you that, okay, there's some work here for me to do and this confirms it. So maybe if you are facing a roadblock at the moment, this card will give you a little bit of maybe light a rocket under you to help you, encourage you to be more bold and to try and move forward. And really, I guess, reassuring that you've got what it takes to move through that. So this is just making sure that we're not stuck in a routine. Now, I know a lot of you are in lockdown, as I am, and you're going, yeah, I'm in a routine because I have no choice at the moment. I totally hear you on that. But this is really just about, it could be about bigger picture stuff for when lockdown is finished. Maybe this time of retreat is a time for you to be thinking about what you want to do after this. Or maybe it's more about mindset stuff. If you're not able to be adventurous in your day-to-day life, maybe it's more about your mindset, adopting a new mindset, challenging some of those thoughts instead of letting them be, I guess, ruling over you and seeing yourself as stuck in sort of the thought patterns that you've got going on with no ability to change them. You could also look to that celebratory mood that I put through or suggested earlier in terms of what can I celebrate here? Because even though we are quite restricted in many ways, we still have a lot of freedoms. And Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, which is one I recommend to just about everybody because it's so good, really talks about how we always have that freedom to choose how we think and feel. I'm paraphrasing here, but Viktor Frankl would say it differently in a much more profound way. So maybe looking at our thoughts and the way we choose to respond is what we can take charge of right now. Tuesday's card is sharing of yourself. I love the zebra in this. I don't know why that's standing out for me. I wonder if that's symbolic for some of you. And this is about giving to people. Now, whenever I'm talking about giving, I feel like I need to clarify it is not over-giving, because I work with a lot of people who are caught in that codependent pattern of they're giving all of their power to other people, and then ending up resentful that no one ever gives them anything back. And that's because they're feeding an unhealthy pattern instead of setting boundaries. So that is not what this is about. And although if that's coming up for you, maybe that's something you do need to address. This is more about what you can do to help others. And if there were ever a time that we needed to be looking after others, this would be it, right? So what are the small things you could do that would make a difference to other people? And that really does make a difference when you're feeling, when you've got low mood. Doing something for someone else can really make a big difference that in ways that we maybe can't even appreciate at the time. So what are things you could do? And maybe that generosity could be extended to you as well. What are the things that you could do to be generous to yourself? Maybe if you are that overgiver type, how could you extend that generosity that you keep giving to other people towards yourself? Doing something lovely for yourself, buying yourself some flowers and getting them delivered if you're financially able to do that, or maybe giving yourself some time as you keep advising other people to do, and giving yourself a manicure or something like that. I know I've gone into the pampering there, but it's not just, self-care is not just about pampering, of course. It's often just about those really fundamental things that we deprive ourselves of sometimes. The rest, the the exercise, getting out into nature, all those things are really important as well. And Wednesday's card, Sanctuary, speaks to the lockdown vibe. All about, I love how this scarf is totally wrapping up this person a bit like a snail. And of course, we're all in our homes, or many of us are in our homes at the moment, and it might be a good time for you to think about how you can make your home feel more like a sanctuary instead of somewhere that you're actually stranded. So can you change around the furniture, put up more photos, bring in some candles or some house plants if you've got the ability to do that. Anything that's going to change the feel of the space. So that's one thing to think about, but it's also about those of you who are not in lockdown might be thinking about maybe you need to set up a better sanctuary and spend less time outdoors, because maybe that's maybe you're spending time out in situations that are triggering you. I've used this example many times before, but around Christmas, going to a shopping mall is something I avoid as much as possible. I will try and shop in times that are going to avoid crowds, and I always shield myself if I'm having to go out in those situations, because that energy that you're surrounded by is so detrimental. If you're an empath particularly, and you're very sensitive, which most people I work with are, that's why they're drawn to my energy. So that's another thing to think about. Maybe you need to set some better boundaries to keep yourself safe. How can you protect yourself at this time? It might be about, as I mentioned, making choices about where you're spending your time, maybe making better choices about where you're spending or expending your mental energy as well is another way to look at it. So that's Wednesday, and I'll shuffle now for Thursday. Interesting. 2 cards have jumped up. One is celebration. So again, we're getting that invitation to have some fun. And you don't have to go big with this. It could be just something really, really small. Here in Australia, we have a great DJ called Hot Dub Time Machine who does virtual dance parties. That's a lot of fun. That in our time zone is on Friday nights and Saturday nights. So you might like to look that up if you're interested in having a bit of a dance in your own living room. Really good not having to dress up, knowing nobody can see you, and it is so fun. So that's one thing I like to do. It's a good celebration for getting through the week. And I don't ever want to paint a picture of a week being something we have to endure and drag ourselves through. But, in lockdown, sometimes we can feel that way, and that's okay. Now, emerging is the other card. We've had this very recently. It's this idea of transformation. Pretty welcome at any time, particularly now, I would think, that the knowledge that we are moving through what we're going through into something better. We are making progress. So if you are in a process of change on some level, maybe it's career, maybe it's through your relationship or your circumstance, that might give you some encouragement, letting you know there is something better on the other side. Keep going through that process. Changes can be really hard, but when you are through the other side and you look back, you'll probably wonder why you didn't start sooner. So the pain of transformation is dwarfed by the pain of staying stuck in something that's no longer right for you, or doing something that's no longer right for you. So really moving forward with those changes that you know you need to make. Friday's card is Law of Attraction, and this is all about how we use our own relationship with the universe to draw in better outcomes for us. So a lot of people oversimplify the law of attraction and manifestation, say you just ask the universe for what you want and then it appears. It's not that simple at all. If it were, everybody would be doing it. What often happens with law of attraction is it takes time. Firstly, that's the thing people don't get. And you also need to be taking action yourself. You can't just sit back and be passive. The universe wants us to be participants in the changes in our lives. And the other thing I will also say about the law of attraction that people often forget or maybe don't realise is that you need to be working on the things that might be blocking you from bringing through that good outcome. You can apply for all the jobs you want, but if you are holding fear blocks around I'm not good enough, or I fail at everything I do, that's going to block you from bringing through those opportunities. So working with an energy healer can really help you with that, and you'll know intuitively if that's playing out for you. So working with the law of attraction to help bring through something better. I think also the thing to remember with this is that, I already said this, but I'll explain it a bit more, that it does take time. So I started trying to manifest a house years and years ago, and it only just happened this year. It takes a long time for things to come through. Don't be discouraged. We're only in charge of the what we want and the why we want it. We don't get to decide the timing or the how it's going to happen, or even what it looks like often. So just keep going with it. Try and be patient. It is important. We can't just go, throw in the towel and go, nothing ever works out for me, which was a big pattern of mine for many years, and sometimes I do fall into that trap again, but I'm better at pulling myself out of it and not letting that futility keep me stuck and stagnant. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But just remember also with the law of attraction that even if you're not actively trying to manifest something, what you are drawing in is due in some measure to what you're putting out. So if you are, really in a place where you're putting out this victim mentality, poor me, nothing ever works out for me, you're going to, it's going to be harder for you to attract those good outcomes. And I have been the person who did that for a long time. And it was almost like I was issuing a dare to the universe: prove me wrong, I'm not going to believe it till I see it. Unfortunately, with spirituality, what often happens is we need to believe it before we see it, not the other way around, because belief isn't something that we can't see yet. It's not about a fact that we can see. So you might like to think about, is my mindset helping me at the moment? And it's okay to have doubts. I never want to try give people the impression that you have to be positive 24/7, which is unrealistic and just exhausting, frankly. It's okay to have doubts and fears. Those will probably never go away. It's just about how much time you give them in terms of your mental space. How much are you letting those dominate? Or are you doing what Elizabeth Gilbert advocates, which is seeing the fear and deciding it's not going to stop you? She talks about how, she thinks of fear as being her co-pilot in a journey. Like, it can sit in the passenger seat, it can choose the snacks and the music, but it doesn't get to choose where we're going, and it doesn't get to get out of the car because it's going to be there. We can't get rid of it. So fear may influence the mood, it may influence how you feel, but it can't stop you from moving forward. You've got to keep going anyway. And if you're really having trouble with that, again, I don't want to oversimplify, reach out to an energy healer, because there can be a lot of stuff going on in the subconscious in your energy field which is blocking you, and you can end up feeling like, what's wrong with me? I'm doing all this stuff and nothing's working. So definitely seek out an expert help. It can make such a difference, and I have definitely seen that in my own life. We're not here to figure it out all by ourselves. Definitely get someone to help you. The universe works through other people, don't forget that, and we need to be willing to receive for that. So Saturday is release all anger. So this card has come up in readings with clients about things that are not just about anger. So it could be generally about anything you need to release, but it does often pertain to unhelpful or heavy emotions. So it could be, is there a source of resentment that you need to let go of? And that doesn't mean pretending that it didn't happen or trying to just move past it. It just means limiting the extent that it influences you now, that it's not eating away in the background for you. You might like to look at that. It could be resentment towards yourself for something you did or you didn't do in the past. That can really weigh people down, so you might like to look at that. But it could be some other emotion, guilt, or something like shame, or even an old story about yourself, that I screw everything up. I'll keep giving the same examples, but that's all right. They're common. So just looking at what you might need to let go of so that you can be free or more free. So we're on Sunday. Here we go. You're on the right path. Beautiful reassurance for the last day of the week. We are moving in the right direction, even though we can't see it yet. The road is long. It's meant to be long. And there are roadblocks. That happens. But keep going. You are on the right path. I spoke about this before in regards to fear. Don't assume that because you're having challenges that you're on the wrong path. You're probably having those challenges because you are on the right path, and you need to work through them so that you can grow enough to move forward to the capacity that you need to. So, interesting week. We've got this tone of celebration coming through. We've also got this idea of needing to let go so that we can move forward in our journey, and just looking at other ways that we might need to support ourselves as we are moving forward. That idea of emerging, it feels significant to me. So make sure that you are reaching out for help where you need it. We are all walking each other home, as Ram Dass said. It's very true. We must do what we can to support each other, and that includes being open to help and support in whatever form it comes to you. Although, obviously, if someone's offering you advice that does not resonate, feel free to reject it. So that's it for the week. I'll be back next week to read for you. If you want to talk to me about how my work maybe can support you to help you really make a big breakthrough on your journey, my website is www.onegroundedangel.com, onegroundedangel.com. You can reach me there, fill out the booking form. There's a lot of information about how I work. And don't forget that I work over Zoom. So no matter where you are, we can set up a session for you. And for those who are not quite sure, I also do a free chat just for a couple of minutes before to make sure that I can definitely help you, make sure I'm the right person. So you're not jumping in with no idea what's ahead. We can have that chat, and you can figure out for yourself as well to confirm whether it's right for you. You can also find me on Instagram at OneGroundedAngel. I only have one account on Instagram. Please do not be sucked in by fakers who set up accounts in my name. I barely have time for the account I've got. There's no way I would set up a second one. So look for the one that's got the most posts. I've had that account for more than 6 years. There are a lot of posts there. And also, don't forget I'm on Facebook as well if you are so inclined. Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a great week. Let's try and schedule in some celebration and some fun. And looking forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.